Great day, Facebook. It's a nice Sunday here in Rochester, New York. The weather is beautiful. I'm glad to be able to reach out and talk to you guys today. I tried to shoot this video last night, and it was on knowledge and wisdom, the difference between the two, and I kept having some problems, so I erased the videos that I had last night, and I'm going to do this with you guys today. I'm just going to take a brief moment of your time. So if you're living here in Rochester, I know you want to get out there and enjoy the weather. I know the last thing you want to do is spend too much time listening to me. If you're in Buffalo, New York, I know the weather there is beautiful. And mostly throughout the country today, we're having great weather. So you guys enjoy your Sunday. Real quick, I'm going to weigh in on some things that I want to speak to you guys on and give you some information that you can do some research on yourself and verify basically what I try to clarify to you. I'm going to talk a little bit today about knowledge and wisdom. Now, before I do that, I want to go into the definition of what knowledge is so that we all are on the same page of what I'm talking about. Now, the definition of knowledge is simply this. It is information used to perform a particular task or skill. It's knowledge. That's basically what knowledge is. And when you look at information, it is a very powerful thing because what you know actually creates reality for you. Meaning what you know and what you believe, it becomes the actual reality for you as a person. Meaning that if it's beyond the scope of anything that you know or any information that you have, then it is very hard for you to deem it possible to be real. So information is a very powerful thing because, like I say, it creates reality. Let me give you an example of how powerful information is. Several hundred years ago, we had men who actually believed that the world was flat. And this flat world theory orchestrated a whole sort of reality for these individuals who believed it, where there was these tall tales and mythical stories about people sailing off of the edge of the earth and dying if you went too far out in the ocean. And immense fear of exploration existed because these individuals believe that, oh, if I go out there and I sail too far out there, I could fall off the edge of the earth. Then you had a gentleman by the name of Sir Isaac Newton who interjected this concept of gravity and a round planet and how individuals could live on the bottom of the planet and not fall off, the water not fall off, and life actually exist and function. And because of this interjection of the concept of reality in the round planet, it changed the whole realistic perspective of society, period. There was mass projects, mass funding to get out there and explore and find out what was out there. When before this whole concept was interjected, people were terrified about going out there and sailing across the ocean out of fear that they would fall off the edge of the earth. So this is the whole powerful concept of information, because information is embedded in the definition of knowledge, which is to get you to perform a particular task or skill. Now, one thing about me, when I look at information, information is based off of words. Words make information because those words are put into phrases, thus and so. So I make sure that I have a great understanding of words, especially when I'm communicating with a person, because part of communication being successful is making sure that you guys have a understanding of how you're using a word, which is why I have massive dictionaries in my house. You know, I have this New Webster Deluxe Desk Reference Library. It also has all type of different books in here, as you could see, to help me understand that. I have a Mosby Pocket Dictionary. This is a medical dictionary. Any terms medical come up, I want to be able to understand the meaning of the words because I'm a lover of words. Law Dictionary right here, Merriam-Webster Law Dictionary. So any words that come in a legal term, I want to be able to understand those as well. This is the Webster second edition New College Dictionary. Another one that I use. And that's just some of the dictionaries and the sources that I have that I use to make sure that I understand the meaning of words and that the individual who I'm communicating, we both have an understanding of how we're using the word. Now, the information that we get today is structured in such a way to limit what we believe is possible and impossible. That information is controlled by individuals like our politicians, our media sources, TV, our educational system. All these institutions are geared to give us information that's structured in such a way that limits what we believe is possible or impossible. And the individuals who control this world, who do things in a way that is, before I say that, let me say this. The information that they're giving you, it is prosperous for them to get you believe this information, and it is very, very destructive to you. And these individuals know what you believe is impossible or impossible because they gave you your religion, they gave you your educational system, they gave you your political system, they gave you your social structure. Everything that you believe, they gave you. All the information that you have, they gave you. So what they do when they want to continuously manipulate you on a mass scale is that they operate outside of what you believe is possible or impossible. And they do this for one reason, because they know even if you were to ever hear the truth about what they have done to you, it will be very, very hard for you to conceive it as possible because they acted outside of the constructs of what you believe is possible or impossible based off the information that you have. Now, there's an old saying that knowledge is power. No, knowledge has never been power because knowledge is information, and information is and knowledge is just information to get you to perform a particular task or skill. And this is why we see in our society people manipulated by the various sources that they trust. You can be easily brainwashed by a source that you trust. All it has to be is a trustworthy source, politician, news media, and the lie repeated so many times to the point where you start repeating it. Thus, you've been brainwashed. And that's all knowledge is. Knowledge is just information to get you to perform a particular task or skill. You look at people who are constantly manipulated by religious leaders. Why do you think that happens? Because these people are attracted to the knowledge given to them by these religious figures, and that knowledge is orchestrated in a way to get them to perform a particular task or skill, which is go in their pocket, give them everything that they own, they're ripped off, and manipulated. Period. Look what Jim Jones did way back in the 70s. He orchestrated that knowledge in such a way that got those people to perform the particular task or skill that he wanted them to. Go to Jonestown, Guyana. We could get them out there and get them to drink poison and kill themselves. Heaven's Gate, David Koresh. They orchestrated their knowledge, which is nothing but information, to get you to perform a particular task and skill in such a way they got those individuals to do exactly what they wanted them to do. Knowledge is not power. It's only potential power. You must next have the wisdom to know how to use it. Then it becomes power. You have to have the wisdom to know how to use it, abuse it, and at times excuse it totally for it to become power to you. And what we have right now is a knowledge-based information system. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term etymology. Etymology and phonics of words. This is a very interesting subject area that I'm going to go into. We send our kids, first of all, to grammar school to get education. We turn these people over to our educational system for our kids for 8 hours a day. They have our children. We're not there to really see what they're really doing with them. We trust them to do the best thing by our kids. Not only that, we have a government that enforces the fact that we should send our kids to these individuals. And it's not education, it's indoctrination. They have your kids for 8 hours a day. They are training your kids to accept a reality that is based off of trust of any figure that they deem a figure of authority, that you are to respond immediately to listen to that individual. Never question them, never look at them and say, something ain't right about that. And any kid that does, let's be for real, what happens to your child when your child questions the authoritative figure in school? Your child is immediately deemed a troublemaker. And the ones who listen are rewarded. You're the good student. So we turn our kids over to these individuals every day. And when I talk about etymology and etymology is really the history of words. Where do these words that we use really come from? Where do these words that make up the information that we're given comes from? And if you look at a lot of these words, it is almost disturbing. First of all, you need to understand that words, the meaning of a word is never based in its spelling or its grammar. It is based in its phonics and sound. So whatever that word's original meaning was, every time you use it, you are vibrationally and phonically responding to its original meaning, because that is what the true meaning of the word is in essence. Its sound and its phonics. Now, our brain responds to these sounds and phonics. We have two parts of our brain. We have a conscious mind, which sees and acts and lives in the now. And then we have a subconscious mind, which really picks up on things that we really don't see. Our subconscious mind grabs these things, filtrates these ideas down to our conscious, and our conscious carries out what our subconscious tells us. So the subconscious creates reality. The conscious mind just carries it out. And a lot of the way we are taught to use a lot of these words, the phonics and vibrational true meanings of these words still are picked up by the subconscious and filtrate down to the conscious. So I don't care what we are told perceptively what they mean. We use words every day that have totally different meanings than what they mean. And this is why I say etymology is a very interesting subject that I think you guys should just, when you get the free time, just type in a word, look it up, and do the research for yourself about what this word truly means and what it is explaining, which is the history of words. Let me give you an example. The meaning of the word grammar, which we send our kids to grammar school, comes from the word glamour. And glamour means to cast a hex on somebody. When we look at the word spell and spelling, today it is taught to us that this means putting letters in its grammatical order correctly as it exists in a certain word. That is not the history of this word. Casting a spell simply means, the word spelling simply means casting a spell on an individual. It means to use the information in such a way that you could create a reality in a person's mind that gets them to futuristically act in a certain way based off that information you just got them to believe. Therefore, they are walking under a spell that you gave them, that you cast on them. So this is the true meaning of these two words. So my advice to you is to really get yourself involved in the understanding of what words really mean. I mean, if I had time, I could really break some words that we use down on a weekly basis that have totally opposite meanings of the way that we use them. And vibrationally puts us in a state of mind that hinders us, not elevates us. We're told that they elevate us, but they hinder us. And this is the power of words and information. And this is what I wanted to get you guys to sort of understand, that it is detrimental that you get a grasp on this sort of perspective, because you have people sources who you trust that are using tried and tested double talk on you. They talk about capitalism and free markets as if they're the same thing. And if you look up the definition of free market, that's where any Joe on the make has a chance to really make it for himself. If you look up capitalism, it simply means that the power, financial power, belongs in the hands of a few people. Totally different meaning. But if you listen to politicians and journalists use it on TV, they'll mix the words together, therefore distorting your real understanding of what these words really mean. And if you walk away with a false understanding, then you operate with a false reality. Bottom line. And so we have our government doing this to us on a regular basis. And I know it's hard for some people to really look at the government as an entity that is manipulating them. Seriously, I can understand that, and I know where a lot of it comes from, but let's talk about the meaning of the word government. Government is a Latin word that comes from two different Latin words, actually. It is gubernare, which means to control, and then we have ment, which means mind. So the actual meaning of government is mind control. And we like to call America a self-representative form of government. It's a republic. Self-representative form of government. You're saying a self-representative form of mind control, because that's the meaning of government. Mind control. Understand words, understand information, understand the reality that it creates. And I trust you will open yourself up to a whole new reality that has been hidden from you for a very long time. Empower yourself. Knowledge is not power. Wisdom is. Look up the definition of the two words and try to achieve wisdom. I'll take wisdom over knowledge any day. Any day of the week. Wisdom gives you the sense to investigate knowledge. Because like I said, knowledge is just information that gets you to perform a particular task or skill. And the information that we are being given today is doing just that. It is getting us all to perform a particular task or skill. What's up, cuz? Joyce Taylor. What's up, Robert Ward? All you individuals, Chanel. Look at my cousin there, Chanel Jones. She's saying hello. I love to give you guys shout outs. I know sometimes I get distracted. I really be into what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. But I see you there, and I appreciate you listening to me and giving me an opportunity to be able to communicate with you. But with that being said, I'm going to end it, and watch this video again. Try to understand the point that I was trying to make to you in this video. And I say, like I say at the end of all my videos, forget politics. Forget believing in your politicians. Forget believing in your governments. They can't do anything to fix our situation. We have to learn to become our fellow Americans' keeper and believe in us. They've been bought off. They're all gone. There's no difference between Republican and Democrat. The only people who can fix this is us. Become your fellow Americans' keeper. Y'all have a great Sunday. I love you.